What you are about to hear might just keep you up tonight. Welcome to Hauntcore Vault.
I've never told this story to anyone outside of the family because it's very strange and I'm not keen on seeming nuts. Around 20 years ago, my now wife and I moved into a large apartment. This was the biggest apartment we had ever lived in, and we liked living there. We had to remove because of renovations after a year. I never really believed in such things, but this place made me reconsider. At that time, we had a cat. The first thing we noticed was that the cat started acting strange. She behaved increasingly like she reacted to someone being there that we couldn't see. Then the atmosphere started changing. We could see the hallway from the living room, and quite often we could feel someone walking from end to end and back. We only saw this as a shadow that disappeared when we turned to look. We also felt a strange presence, but we couldn't explain it. After a while, it escalated. A couple of very strange episodes with the cat was the beginning of a period with more activity. The living room and the hallway was separated by two big double doors with panels of glass. The doors was never closed. One time when the cat was walking from the hallway to the living room, she suddenly stopped on the threshold between the rooms like she was totally frozen. Her eyes was huge and panicked, and it looked like she wasn't able to move, like she didn't understand that the doors was open. I really can't explain it. She stood that way for minutes, absolutely frozen still. We tried to talk to her, but no reaction. She never did that again. Another time the cat was sleeping on a shelf in the living room. Suddenly, she woke and hissed and stared at someone. Then she calmed down. What I still have difficulty believing in is that we both saw that it looked like someone stroked her fur, repeatedly, for several minutes. It also looked like she could see someone doing this because her eyes followed something that wasn't there. A lot of other smaller incidents happened, but two of those was really frightening, and we actually at that time considered moving. These two happened in the same night. One night after we went to bed, we noticed an intense burning smell. A few times before, we had noticed a faint, burnt smell when we was in the living room, but didn't really think about it. We went into the living room, and the smell came from behind the TV. The smell became stronger and stronger, so we pulled everything out from all the sockets in the living room and waited to see if it stopped. It didn't. The smell became stronger and stronger, and after a while, we started coughing. The smell spread in the whole apartment. We began searching online what it could be, and we became worried about a fire in the electrical system inside the walls, starting behind the TV. We couldn't go to sleep, and it was over midnight. We tried to find an electrician, but it was easier said than done to find someone at night. It never occurred to us after to call the fire department. We finally found one in the early morning after a night of no sleep. He said that it wasn't anything wrong, something he found strange as he smelled what we did. After this, the smell only came back much fainted when we watched TV. So we started to say, "Stop kidding," and it fainted more and more. But was even more horrible was something that happened the same night while we waited. Our bedroom was next to the living room. We lay down to relax for a while when we waited for the electrician to arrive. Then, suddenly, a loud scraping noise and a huge bang came from the living room. We stormed into the living room to see what it was. A huge chandelier had fallen off the top of the bookcase it stood on. It hadn't just fallen, it lay on the floor 3 meters from the bookcase, like it was tossed with force. When I realized it wasn't the cat because she was on the bed with us when it happened, I must admit that I felt that my sense of reality was shattered instantly. I felt I was dreaming, or in a nightmare, or something. Because this just wasn't possible. It was absolutely horrifying. It was a night of horror. We never got an explanation, and after a while we had to move anyway because of bathroom renovation. After we moved, we tried to find out about the history of the area. We only found out that it had been huge farms on the exact place where the building stood on from ancient times. It was also known for having a special kind of vegetation as the only place in my country. We never experienced something like this other places we have lived.